What's up, everybody? My name is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and I'm back again to drop some more math jewels. In this video, I'm going to show you how to write a quadratic equation in Vertex form. So, as you can see, I got the first example ready. Let's get right into it. Now, this is a quadratic equation, but it's in standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. Another thing I want to point out is you may see them like this, where it's y equals, or you may see them in function notation to where it says f of x equals. It's the same thing, just looks different. So we're going to put this in vertex form by completing the square. Now, if you look right here, vertex forms looks like this. Y equals x minus h squared plus k. And the vertex is actually the ordered pair h and k. I'm going to show you what that means in just a minute. So the first thing I want to do is I want to say y equals, and I'm going to put this in parentheses. I want to say x squared minus 2x, and then I'm going to add something there to complete the square, and then I'm going to bring this minus 5 out here. All right. Now, what I'm going to add right here is I'm going to take half of this b term. So I'm going to take half of negative 2, so which is half of negative 2 is negative 1, but I'm going to write it like this. Negative 2 divided by 2, and then I'm going to square that. Since I'm adding it here, in order to keep this equation balanced, I have to subtract it here. Why do I have to subtract it here? Because we're on the same side of the equal sign. So in order to keep this balanced, if I'm adding it in here, I have to subtract it out there. Please don't confuse this with solving a regular equation where we have to do opposites when we're on different sides of the equal sign. So now I'm going to just simplify that. X squared minus 2x. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is just 1. And then I'm going to say minus 5 minus 1. All right, now I'm going to do a little bit more. So I need to factor this part. This is what we call a perfect square trinomial. So if I factor it, it's actually going to be x minus 1 times x minus 1, and then minus 6. Well, we can rewrite this as x minus 1 squared, and then minus 6. I bring down my y, and this is the vertex form. Y equals x minus 1 squared minus 6. Now, the vertex is actually, so if you notice comparing it to here, x is still x, but h in this case is 1 because it's x minus h. So h is 1, and then since it's plus k, remember, if I subtract the negative 6, that's the same thing as adding. So this is negative 6 is my y coordinate. All right. So this is actually the vertex of that equation. So this is vertex form of this same equation, vertex form, and this is actually the vertex of that parabola when we graph it. So for example 2, I'm going to do another similar problem, but it's going to look a little different. Remember, when you work these different types of problems, the numbers are going to change. The process for the most part is the same. Now, there's not just one process for solving every problem. That's one of the beauties of mathematics. There's multiple ways, but we're still going to complete the square to go from standard form, which is what you see right here, to vertex form, which is what you see right here. All right, let's go. So, same thing. I want to say y equals. Now, I'm going to put this in parentheses so that I can complete the square. All right, now I want to say half of negative 12, which is negative 6. So negative 6 squared. And then I'm going to bring this plus 46 out here. But now remember, since I'm adding negative 6 squared here, I'm going to subtract negative 6 squared there. All right. So then when I simplify that, I'm going to actually say y equals x squared minus 12x plus 36, and then plus 46. Now here, this is negative 6 to the second power is 36. So 46 minus 36. All right. Very, very important. Now, once again, you may say, why am I adding here and subtracting there? Because we're on the same side of the equal sign, so we want to keep that balance. All right, so now let's simplify. Y equals, if we factor this time I'm going to cut out a step. All right, so this, if we factor this, this is x minus 6. It's a perfect square trinomial. So I can say x minus 6 to the second power because it's the same thing as x minus 6 times x minus 6. Now, 46 minus 36 is just 10. Okay? So this is vertex form. So standard form, vertex form. Same quadratic equation, but just a different form of it. Okay? Now, in this case, the vertex is actually going to be the ordered pair 6 and negative 10. Okay? Remember, it comes from h, x minus h, and then plus k. Okay? Actually, this should be positive 10. Okay? Positive 10. So y equals x minus h plus k. So this should be 10 right there. All right? Very, very important to understand. Once you get it in vertex form, you can get the vertex as well. So this is a vertex. Let's write that. All right? Now this third example is going to be a little different. A lot more tedious. Takes a little longer, but same concept. So in this case, notice it's set equal to 0. I have 6x squared plus 12x plus y plus 13 equals 0. Notice in the two previous examples, I had y equals. Okay, so we need to get y by itself. So I'm just going to take these other three terms to the right side of the equal sign. So if I leave the y here, I'm going to get y equals. If I take 6x squared to the other side, I'm going to subtract 6x. So it'll be negative 6x squared. And then it'll be minus 12x minus 13. Okay? All I did was move this term, and this term to the right side. So it should be the opposite sign. Okay? So then now I'm going to do the same thing. But notice there is a coefficient on this x squared. So I'm going to factor out that coefficient. So I'm going to say negative 6 and then x squared plus 12x. All right, so then now I got to do plus something, right? We'll come back to that, and then minus 13. Now, half of this 12. Now let's confirm that this is correct because negative 6 times x is negative 6x squared, and negative, actually this should be 2. I'm sorry. Let's rewrite that. It should be 2. That's why you got to double check your work. All right, so negative 6 times 2 is negative 12, or negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. And then now, to get this third term, I want to do half of this 2. So half of 2 is 2 divided by 2 squared. All right, now, same thing. Since I added it here, I want to subtract it. But I got to multiply it by negative 6 because of here. So I want to say negative 6 times that 2 over 2 squared. We're going to simplify that in just a minute. All right. So once again, I still took half of this middle term, half of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and squared it. Since I added it here, I subtracted here. But when I subtracted out here to keep the equation balanced, because technically by the distributive property, I would have to multiply this negative 6 times this. So that's why you have negative 6 times the same thing here. But let's simplify. So I have negative 6 x squared plus 2x plus 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, and then minus 13. Now, here we go. This right here is going to be plus, because it's the same thing as minus negative 6, because negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. But whenever I subtract negative 6, I'm going to actually just add 6. Okay? So here, now I can simplify, and you may have to pause that and rewind and go back and look at that for a second. So negative 6 times x plus 1 squared, and then negative 13 plus 6 is negative 7. So this is the vertex form of that same function. Okay? This same quadratic expression, this is the vertex form. Now we got to figure out, what is the vertex? Well, the vertex is still h and k. So the vertex here is going to be this time now still 1. Actually, should be negative 1, because remember it's x minus h. So when I subtract the negative, I get a positive. So negative 1, and then plus k. Well, guess what? It's negative 7 in this case. Okay? So This one you may have to pause and go back and look at it a couple times, but notice the key thing is here. Whenever I factor that out, I got to multiply that number that's factored out right here when I'm subtracting it over there. Young Gurus Math Tutoring. I got the solution to your math problems.